Hey everyone, I am super thrilled to have Kathy Hadizadeh on here with us. Did I say that Hadizadeh? I did it. I practiced and then I totally did Hadizadeh. Welcome.
Perfect.
Thank you. I was like, I totally, yeah. I'm so glad you're here. And I don't know, I feel really grateful for the powerful women who are showing up for this series and the connection that's possible and the abundance and the amazing growth that's possible for both the people who are watching and then also for the individuals in the series. So I'm super glad you're here with us, Kathy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nicole. I love the topic of this summit, purpose. That's a
Yes.
very good thing, especially if high achievers are watching us. They will
Hmm.
experience purpose is the fuel behind all those goals. We got to talk
Yeah.
about
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I can't wait to get in. So I'm going to share with everyone a little bit about you and then we're definitely going to dig into this topic. So Kathy is a leadership and executive coach and an advisor on bringing mindful leadership to leaders, entrepreneurs, and organizations. She builds on 15 years of tech leadership with Fortune 100 and 500 companies like AT&T, DirecTV, Omnicom, etc. So if we've got any of you, any folks watching, any women who are in tech and in any kind of big companies, I think Kathy might have a lot of insight for you. So Kathy, could you tell us a little bit about your journey to where you are now in terms of your experience and your work in terms of finding your own purpose and what that looked like?
Absolutely. I would be happy to, Nicole. Eh, It's interesting you mentioned the women in big companies because I think what I have experienced, many women, especially professional women after they become moms, they will experience that. My life was going really well in the corporate world until I became a mom. And then it was like,
Mm.
wow. I all of a sudden felt like, I have to grow a couple other heads, a couple other hands. And, physically it wasn't very possible to grow all those many hands and heads. And I started feeling like I'm a juggler on a tightrope, and I'm juggling all these balls, being a professional, wanting to, go up the ladder in the corporate world, and the kids, and my husband, and being a daughter, and have parents, and being a human being, I have to take care of this person too. So all of a sudden, it felt like that, and because I was very goal oriented, like many of the high achievers and ambitious people who are listening to us today, Nicole, I wasn't paying attention that. What happens if I fall? I was just paying attention to dropping these balls so well, and I was becoming so good at it, but then I fell off that tightrope. And not only I fell, but I broke some of those balls. I mean, some of the balls can be plastic and they can bounce back, but some of those balls were made of glass and they broke. And that was a very hard and dark time in my life because I had a health injury, but it allowed me to think about life in a new way and the meaning of life. And as Dostoevsky, one of the writers that I really like, said, the mystery of human existence lies not in just staying alive, but finding something to live for. And that's exactly what happened to me because the doctors told me that they cannot help with whatever I was dealing with at that time. And I had two little kids, and I had a very ambitious kind of personality, and all these people around me. And I was all of a sudden like, do I want to just live like this? And and that was a big question. It's a big question. We don't think about departures very much. I mean, there is no need to wake up every day and think about departures, but departures can happen at any moment in time. I think in pandemic has put this hindsight in a very big perspective that departure can happen at any moment in time. You don't need somebody to come in with bells and whistles and tell you, hey, it's going to happen. So that was my opening, I should say, into looking into life in a different perspective, which wasn't very new for me. When I was 24, after I got my master's, I went to India in search of happiness. I wanted to see what makes people happy because I had seen some very, very financially fortunate people around me who were never happy. And I had the chance to see people who sounded or looked like very financially unfortunate, but had the biggest possible smiles. So where does happiness live? And that was a big question for me at that age. But I came here for my PhD and I had to park that question. But when I picked up that question again after what happened to me, I found a purpose in life, and that is, why would anybody live in misery? Because happiness is an internal job. And I help people to go in that journey, especially people who are ambitious and high achievers and are so good at, like me, to walk on those tight ropes and juggling balls.
Mhm. I love that, Kathy. And I think it's such a powerful thing where this happens. I love this thread that happens sometimes where we just go on that external journey to find happiness. We go to another country, we go somewhere else, right? And then we're like, oh, there is no answer. It may open up some ideas, right? But the answer doesn't exist there. And then we always have to go back. That external journey always leads back here, right? And can you talk a little bit more about like what it was that was the turning point for you to start to understand that? Like, how did you start to see that internal happiness really was like an internal state that you had to achieve on your own?
Well, it took me some time, I have to say. I mean, it did not happen very quickly or very fast, but I had a chance to sit for 2 years in silence, kind of.
Mhm.
And that was a big journey because I have always lived a very happening life. And being forced to that isolation had a lot of room for pondering and reflecting. I mean, there was pain too, but there was a lot of room for pondering.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I really sensed, Nicole, was that feeling of, at the beginning, for the first 9 months or so, I was like, when do I get better? When do I get better? When do I go back to life? When do I see my friends? When do, that expectation, and that one wanting to, when do I get out of this? Like treating it like a prison, treating it like a life sentence. And it took me a long while to surrender to the fact that this is your present moment. This is your life right now. Can you be with what it is, even though it's really hard and it is very painful? But can you allow yourself to be with it? And I'm saying these sentences, Nicole, but these sentences really were hard to say and were really hard even to experience. I'm saying this with a smile, but at that time I was like, oh my God, present moment. Can I just fast forward this present moment to some other moment in the quantum world? So the reason I say that is that we have a longing as human beings to wish for other moments. Whereas being with this moment is really part of allowing ourselves to feel happiness. Even in the middle of that pain, there were beautiful moments. There were moments that my little boy, I think he was like 4 or something at that time, he would come and he would say, "Mommy, is your head better?" And thinking that a little person comes or has drawn a picture for me, or the people in his preschool sent me a card, "Get well soon." I mean, these are little things, but they are very bringing a lot of happiness. I had to sit with little things and allow myself that, hey, happiness can be these moments. You're still alive, you're still available to these kids, the little that you are. So this is the moment. Can you be with this moment and not to wish for past, future, any other moment but this moment? This is a very big thing when it comes to building our own happiness.
Mhm. Well, I find what you're saying is really resonant because there's such this experience for so many people. It's like, well, if this happens, then I'll be happy, right? It's so human nature. If I go on this vacation, if I change this job, if I blah, right? And then I'll be happy. And then I'm always like, well, that's such a, right? You have, it's, what's the word? Conditional.
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very, very true, Nicole. It's actually this concept that you said was one of the biggest things that I had a hard time with it when I went to my coaching certification program. That
Mhm.
was such a big aha thing for me. I was lucky that the master coach who was teaching my cohort, he was an engineer by training too, who had become a coach. So I was very lucky because he understood me. And he, you know how in life I was like, okay, if I get this promotion,
Mhm.
if I if my kids go to so and so school, I mean, even for preschool, I remember there was a particular preschool that I wanted my daughter to go to, and I called them like 1,055 times to get her to that school. She finally didn't get to another school, but there was another school that was much better suited. She got into. But I want to say, how we condition ourselves, as you rightly said. But the biggest thing for me was that, okay, if I don't condition myself to all these things, then what am I looking for? What am I looking forward to? And that was something that I was like, okay, then how do I change out of that? And a
Mhm.
lot of the people that I work with them, Nicole, have that. They're like, okay, you're telling me not to be like this, then what am I supposed to be like? First of all, nobody can tell anybody to be how. It's a journey. Everybody discovers what works for them. But there are certain things in this world that I heard, that I believe are aligned with wisdom,
Mhm.
and they can help people experience that happiness that we are talking about. And one of those things is this feeling of planning for future but not becoming attached to it.
Mhm. Mhm. Absolutely.
So we all can have aspirations. I Every day there is something that I'm looking forward to as a business owner. Every day I'm coming up with new plans. I have a whiteboard full of stuff. So there is no lack of aspiring to do this or having these motivations or goals or things like that. But there is that attachment. Do these things define me, or am I allowing myself to just detach myself from it? Because one of the biggest things that I think corporate people experience, Nicole, is that who are we without our corporate title?
Mhm.
Director, VP, whatever thing it is. And I remember when, after my accident, after I had to sit down and look in the mirror with Kathy Hadizadeh, I was like, can I see really who you are? I mean, okay, am I going to say I'm a technologist? What am I going to say without this IT executive, whatever, for whatever company? Who am I? Who is this person? And that's a really big question. I think people get a lot of identity crisis even if they want to make a change. Who am I going to be without all these titles and companies and these things that we have earned and they are part of us, but we get attached to them along the way.
Absolutely. It is, I know this is a really silly small example, and yet I feel like it's true. Like this morning, my dog lost her ball, and I was like, we were looking for it, and we're in this big field, and I was just kind of like, well, we've lost many. I was like, we've lost many. It's fine. And then, of course, as soon as I really was like not attached to finding the ball, she found the ball. But that's life, right? Like we get, because it's like that's where I think especially high achievers have to watch that,
Mhm.
because we want to grow. And I loved what you said, like you have a whiteboard full of stuff. Me too. Like we want to grow, we want to expand, but are you attached to how it's going to go? Because that
Mm,
attachment will get the best of you, right?
mm, mm.
That's where the identity stuff comes in. Like,
Absolutely.
because I think even for you, and I'm curious, I don't know, I mean, I don't know where my purpose would be outside of the business I've got right now. Purpose also evolves too. It's like what you're doing and who you're here to be is not set. And there's no person in this series, and there's no one in the world where I feel like any of it is set, right? It has to, it's going to move because you're going to move and shift. I'm curious what you think about that.
Absolutely. I think, that's the biggest thing in life that people sometimes don't realize that the different stages in life require different kind of thinking, even different kind of
Mm-hmm.
profession.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we change. I mean, the only constant in life is change.
Right.
So if we do not allow ourselves to embrace that, then we are going against life. We are going against the energy of life. When I was in my when I was 18, my goal was to go to the college or do whatever I want to do. I wanted to go see the world, whatever made sense at that time. And I think we should all look out for putting some check-in points for ourselves. 30, am I headed in the direction I wanted to be headed? 40, am I headed to the direction I want to be headed? And I am going to emphasize on 40 because my experiences with that. and that is a lot of the high achievers by 40, you have been in your job probably around close to 2 decades. You are established, people know you. You have been in some industries. If you wanted to have family and kids, you might have it. If you didn't want, you have figured out your life to some degree. And between, I think, 40 to 55 is a really sweet spot that you can decide what do I really want to do with all this experience and knowledge and who I have become, and I have built this network and all of this. Is this really what I want to do? Because after a certain age, our body might not function the way we want it to function, despite all the longevity hacks that is out there. And I do a lot of work on the transformative take and things like that, but still, the body and our functionality declines with age to some degree. So it is very important to take advantage of these check-ins, Nicole. As you mentioned, we need to have these check-ins. Is this still my purpose? I mean, I know that I really didn't think about purpose and these things a lot in my life till I got into this journey. I even made fun of some of these things. I was like, okay, I have all these goals. I know where I'm going. I don't need this big picture or this thing. Although I had studied a lot of philosophy in my life, but it's still, I didn't think about it in this way. That's why I'm very fascinated by coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, it's very simple, Nicole. Um, at any point that people want to check in with themselves, they have to consider mind is like water. If you put a rock in the water, it becomes this. You cannot see clearly. So, for you to see clearly, you have to take a pause. And that's the giveaway that I'm going to have for the audience we have here.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take a pause and allow your mind to settle and really see for yourself, what is it that I really want at this time? Whatever it might be. And nothing is ridiculous or nothing is too small or too big. And then decide, am I genuinely happy? Am I able to move forward? Do I have a good energy? Do I know where I want to be? If the answer is yes, rock on, move forward. And if you said, I'm not sure, I'm unhappy, this is not working, but I don't know what else to do. I have a family to take care of. I have kids. My parents want me to do this thing. I don't know. If you feel like you are piling these excuses and you're unhappy, get a coach. Get outside of that funk that you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Yeah, I mean, I think that the biggest thing, this is a women programming thing, right, is getting help. We like don't want to ask for help. And I see it with my friends, and some of my friends might be watching it if you are, hello, but I don't coach my friends because like we're friends, like we just hang out. But if like something's going on and you feel stuck, I'm like, well, there's a lot of people. Don't hire me, but like there's a lot of people who can help you. Like
Yeah.
a lot, right?
The, there is a lot of people. The important thing in here that I think I want to emphasize with our folks in here
Mm-hmm.
is knowing about this profession,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that there is such a profession existing. Because to be honest with you, I I didn't know about coaching this
Mhm.
much. I always had mentors in my corporate world,
Yeah.
and then my mentors helped me greatly, and I was mentor for other people, but I didn't know about coaching in the sense of this executive coaching, and the fact that you can really change, level up your career to the next level, or be considered as a whole of a person. I didn't know about all of these things. So one of
Mhm.
the things that is important for me is to tell people there is such a thing, that you can work with somebody who can be your accountability partner, who can help you find your blind spots or whatever is keeping you in that funk that we talked about. They can be your cheerleader. They can help you move forward. They can help you get over the fear. Because we stay in things sometimes because of the fear. We justify ourselves. Oh, okay, I have to stay because I need the paycheck. I have to stay because my kids need me. I have to stay. All of those things, there are people who are trained. Just make sure you find the right people who are trained properly. The world is full of people who could have gotten a certificate with $50 out of Udemy. No, those people are not trained. I want to make sure people understand that. Invest your money in not what you hear, but in trust your heart, use your brain, see if the person has the credentials, see if they feel right to your heart, and go with that and
Mhm.
make the investment, make it happen.
Mhm.
Think about it. If a coach says, I know that, I've been, people say, oh, coaches charge exuberantly high. Think about it. If you spend 15K to work with somebody for 6 months, a year, whatever the case is, isn't that much better than living a year of your life or maybe more in misery? I mean, seriously, just think about it. Your body is gonna suffer. You're gonna get all these kinds of weird some psychosomatic diseases, high blood pressure, your Alzheimer in the later years of your life. You're subjecting this beautiful body to a lot of unneeded stress. It absolutely makes sense to do that investment. Think about it. If you want to go to a doctor, if you have pain, don't you go to a doctor?
Mhm.
And you do try to find the best doctor out there. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure our people know about that, Nicole, because I
I'm
did.
glad you're telling. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I actually think that a lot of what it is like understanding that it's possible. So I appreciate you spending that time and sharing with it because that is really it. It's like we have to move ourselves out of that pain before we can even start to contemplate purpose. And that's something I share with people all the time. I was like, you guys have to get out of these automated things, the stuffing it down, that stress level, getting connected to self. That's the only way we're going to make progress. It's the only way. You cannot do it from a stress place. Stress does not allow you to see with any kind of clarity at all. So
No, like that
yeah.
water that you talked about.
Yeah, right. Like you just can't. Stress it blocks you. So I love what you're sharing, and I don't know. I love you, Kathy. It's so great to connect with you this way and hear what you're speaking about in just like a really powerful way because I think it's important for all of us. And coaches, we're all human. We all need reminders of what this is about and what to do, how to stay on track for ourselves. So I'm so grateful that you're here with us for this. And then I would love for you to share a little bit about what your gift is for everybody to help them access this side of themselves.
Absolutely. I would love to do that, Nicole. And thank you for putting together this summit with
Oh,
this
of course.
important topic. So I am going to offer our people in here a video to watch.
Mm.
And that is something that I discovered since we have high achievers listening and hearing us. That is something that I discovered that there is a myth in this world of corporate, especially corporate life, that you cannot go up the ladder and get promoted or get to the levels that you want without stress and burnout and sacrificing your health, your life, your relationships. And so I built this video based on a thinking that I call it leadership.
Mm.
That no, it is possible. We just need to understand the shifts and start making those shifts in our life. So that's what I'm offering our audience in here. And to get it, they can go to go.heartmindtuning.com /get dash access. I'm going to put it in the chat.
And they're actually, it's going to be in the email that goes out, and it'll also be linked in the replay. So everyone will be able to just click right on that as well.
Perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Hopefully, this will help people
Yes.
to take the pause, connect with themselves, find out those shifts, and make those shifts.
Perfect. So beautiful. Kathy, I'm so honored you contributed yourself and your energy to this series and to me and all of the people who are watching. So thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that very much.